Assalamu alaikum. Hello dear viewers. States they use various instruments in their foreign policies to pursue their national interests and to get their objectives. Here is also economic rewards and coercion. So the economic rewards by giving most favorite nation status, by increasing the quotas, by decreasing the tariffs, and also the economic coercion by giving punishments to other states, having economic sanctions, financial embargoes, reducing the quotas, and having and creating more hurdles while trading with enemy states are called economic punishments. So the economic rewards and coercion, the economic benefits and punishments given to friendly states and enemy states, these are the tools and instruments used by the states and their foreign policies. It is a practice which is continued and it has been used by the powerful states, also by the neighboring states and international organizations, both the political one and the financial institutions. We have example of the League of Nations. The League of Nations imposed economic sanctions on the belligerent states on three times: 1921, 1934, and 1936. Also, the United Nations on many occasions has imposed economic sanctions on various countries. In the Cold War period, it was also used against the Soviet Union and some other socialist regimes, and even the most of them the non-democratic countries. But in the post-Cold War era, the same practice is continued. So it is for some purpose when a country wants to attract the public and the government of a specific state. So it gives MFN status, most favorite nation status, and also increase quotas, giving licenses to the companies of the target state. Sometimes if situation is not normal, then states they want to stop giving dues to international organizations and also punish states by increasing tariffs and by closing the borders for the imports from their specific country, and also there is a reduction in quotas. So it is very much important instrument of foreign policy that states they coerce other states having punishment, and states they rewards other states having giving advantage and benefits in financial terms. So there are some strategies being used by the states while having friendly or the rival relationship with other states. The first in this regard, that is the tariffs. So tariffs are the duties, the custom, the taxes on the imports and exports with other countries. So in this age of globalization and also in this age of market economy, there are various free trade agreements signed between the states. So one of the purposes of the free trade agreements also the decreasing tariffs on the imports and exports, and also to have free movement of goods and products across the borders. For this purpose, tariffs states the use for both punishment and as a reward. In the wake of the decay of socialist regimes in Eastern Europe, United States wanted to attract the policymakers and leaders of the East European socialist states towards capitalism. That's why US gave most favorite nation status MFN to Poland in 1981. It was continued, but later on, now since 1989, the United States has conditioned the status of MFN, most favorite nation, to all those countries can be extended where there is respect for democratic norms, where country is very much open where there is a tendency towards market economy. So it can be used for both positive and for negative things. Second, that is the quotas. Uh, it is also used for both positive and negative. Sometimes states they increase quota if the relationship is very friendly and normal. Sometimes there is decrease in quotas when a state wants to punish another state. United States mainly had imported sugar from the Philippines, Dominican Republic, and other sugar producing nations. Since these countries are a large proportion of sugar, their major export crop to the United States, any shift in the size of this quota can affect the or assist severely. It can change their economies. So the United States, if want to have what kind of relationship with these countries, it can increase or decrease the quota of sugar with these countries. Third is boycott. So sometimes if there is a belligerent attitude of a state, if state that is not that is in connection with other countries on friendly terms, so states then they boycott. And states, especially powerful states, especially international organizations, they join alliance and they call to all countries of the world to boycott in trade terms. So a trade boycott is arranged by powerful states against another state who is not abiding by rules, not abiding by international law, or if a state's policies is not favorable to a great power, a powerful country. Third, that is embargo. So embargo is imposed. Economic sanctions are imposed, just like against North Korea, against Iran, against Libya, and so on so many occasions also against Pakistan. Sometimes by having a dictatorship here in Pakistan, having no democracy, or sometimes because of nuclear program of Pakistan. So these economic embargoes, the sanctions have been imposed by so many countries from the United States, from the Great Britain, and also from the United Nations organization. The fifth one, that is giving loans, credits, and currency manipulation. So giving loans, it is also a policy by the great powers, also international institutions, especially the financial institutions. So Pakistan has also too much link with United States and also with China. They give loans to Pakistan in so many fields in infrastructure development, also in the China-Pakistan economic corridor, also in some technical field and technical assistance, and also in military hardwares. So giving loans from international organizations or from a great power, especially an economic power, that is a strategy used by the states to change the behavior, attitude, and policies of the target states. So that can be used for both is to give loans or to stop loans, just to reward our country or punish a country. Sixth, that is the blacklist, to declare a state's companies as a blacklist. Most of the Arab countries, they have just declared and they have maintained blacklists against foreign firms who are doing business with Israel because of the Arab-Israel war, the three wars in 1948, 1967, and 1973. So the relationship of Israel with the Muslim countries and particularly with the Arab countries, they are not normal. In most of the cases, they are hostile to one another. That is why Arab countries, they have maintained this blacklist against all those firms, companies, and corporations who are doing business with Israel. Seventh, licensing, to export and import licenses can be granted or denied. So most industrial states, they maintain licensing to prevent or control nuclear proliferation. So it is a strategy used by international organizations and also great countries, the powerful states, that licensing should be issued or it should be denied, especially to control and to prevent the nuclear proliferation. Also sometimes that is to improve the human rights conditions in some countries, and also to bring democracy in non-democratic countries. So licensing, it is a strategy used by the states as an economic reward or economic coercion. Eighth, that is the freezing assets. When the relationship is hostile and when a country that is not abiding by the international law sometimes, then even some powerful states, they use it for their own interest because they have power. In the language of political realism, and as stated by the realist theory in international relations. After 1979, when the relationship between the United States and Iran became hostile, so almost 12 billion US dollars in the assets of Iran, those were frozen by the United States across the world. So it was a severe shock for the Iranian economy, because already there was a revolution and the country had to settle all the problems created by the revolution, and also there was a hostage crisis between Iran and United States. So the freezing of assets at world level internationally, there is also a strategy used as an economic punishment, economic coercion by the powerful states and also international organizations. Granting or suspending aid, including military sales or grants. So sometimes powerful states, they do the same for so many purposes, either for democracy or to stop nuclear proliferation or to improve the human rights conditions or to have more market-oriented economy, or any other objective can be achieved by the powerful states. So this granting or suspending aid, including military sales or grants, on so many occasions happened between Pakistan when Pakistan joined the SEATO and CENTO alliances in 1950s. So the United States granted aid, especially in military field, to Pakistan, and after that it continued later on when Pakistan started nuclear program. So the United States told to the French and the Canadian governments to stop and to have an end of agreements with Pakistan. So the French and the Canadian governments did so. Also, the President Amendment came against Pakistan and economic sanctions were imposed there. Also now in this war on terror, so under the Coalition Support Fund, Pakistan was granted aid, but because of confusion and because of blame game between the two countries, the Coalition Support Fund aid then was halted by President Donald Trump. There was also a confusion and an issue on the delivery of F-16 airplanes from the United States to Pakistan. So granting or suspending aid, including military sales or grants, it is a strategy used by the powerful states and international organizations, but mostly the big states and the powerful states. 10, that is the expropriation. What is expropriation? Governments may seize ownership of assets belonging to the rival states. So when enemy state, they have the companies, corporations, firms, businesses, partnerships at international level. So then powerful states, they just seize ownership of these assets to punish the target state and the rival state in this regard. Also, the 11th strategy, that is withholding dues to an international organization. Sometimes states, they withhold and they don't pay the dues and the donations to international organization. Until 1980, 1988, Soviet Union refused to contribute to the financial support of various United Nations peacekeeping forces and operations, and also United States in recent years have withheld or reduced the size of its dues to the United Nations, the International Labour Organization, and the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. So these things are very common in international politics. The states, they do use them while having economic coercion or economic reward to all these states. All these things, they can affect the states if the relationship between the coercer and the coerced, in the shape of reducing quotas or increasing trade or having economic sanctions, financial embargoes, it matters a lot when the relationship between the coercer and the coerced, the victim country, the target country, that is very wide. If that is asymmetrical, if that is not equal. Second, if alternative sources of supply or markets are not readily available to the coerced or target states. So if one area, one country is banned for exports, then okay, other countries, you can sell your products, but if there is no alternative, then of course it can affect the coerced state. Another thing, that if there is little international sympathy for the coerced or target state, then its economy can be severely damaged. Another, the attempts at economic coercion are coupled with some other techniques of statecraft, maybe some military means can be used, some attacks can be used, or missiles can be fired, or anything else can be done in this regard just to support the economic punishments against the coerced or the target state. Another, if the costs of applying the sanctions to the coercer are significantly less than the coerced state, it is possible that having economic sanctions, it can affect both the coercer and the coerced. But if these costs are more for coerced than the coercer, then it can be applied by the coercer or powerful state against the weaker or target coerced state. There are 4 types of bilateral aid programs: technical assistance, grants and commodity import programs, the development loans, and the 4th one, that is the emergency humanitarian assistance. So all these economic rewards and coercion, it can have 3 main objectives: the immediate objectives, the medium range objectives, and the long range objectives. Sometimes states, the powerful states or international organizations, they want to have a regime change. Sometimes it want to open the country for globalization, for free trade, and for market oriented economic policies. And also in the long range, that a country can be very friendly and it can be on equal terms with the coercer state, with the powerful state. Dear viewers, I hope you enjoyed the video. Do subscribe the channel, press the bell icon to be informed with my new interesting video uploads. Take care.